Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fightday Fanboy. If you enjoy the show, do us a favour, like, subscribe, do whatever you can to help us dominate these algorithms, alright? Alright, thanks guys, enjoy the show. Fightday Fanboy, episode 5. Look, I don't even want to give you a massive intro here. I just want you to get into it, please. Peter Walsh, tell me how Khaos Williams pissed away all your money on the weekend. Just give me the whole story.
Fuck it. The whole story.
Give me the whole story and I'll do the Khaos Williams face where I'm like...
Well, if you want to know the truth about the whole story, is I knew nothing about either fighter. I just quickly did a Sherdog look up, and I was like, "This Abdul guy is a fucking killer," and he was a strong favorite. When we saw him in the training room, that's when you boys put your money on as well. You're like, This guy's just gonna murder him. We were just taking the whole fight off face value, really, weren't we?
We were, but I'd seen a little bit of him, and I thought Abdul looked like he was probably going to be clearer. Like, I don't know, it just seemed...
All I knew about Abdul is I'd seen him fight Nico Price and knock Nico Price out in 60 seconds or something. And I was like, yeah, no one knocks out Nico Price like that. You know, this guy's dangerous. This guy's just savage. And it's more than likely, just looking at the odds, it's more than likely just going to go in his way favorably very quick. And then what happened?
It was this face, man. It was this one. I saw that and I was like, oh my God, he's going to die. He's frozen in fear. But then he turns out he was just manifesting that fucking chaos right through the... Dude, that was right through the middle. That was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Usually you see like a clear opening to a knockout path, but it just went straight through.
Yeah, everything.
Beautiful.
Absolutely killed him.
Yeah, no, the thing is with the promo is the reason why I was looking at Abdul is I saw... I'd seen like a lot more of him, and then when it all came time, they had a promo, and it was Abdul knocking some guy out and doing a mad backflip after he finished the fight, and then fucking the next one was Khaos, and he was knocking everyone out, and he did like a shitter backflip. So I basically judged them on the backflips. That's what I did. I judged them on the backflips, and I got it wrong. So
I judged him on face value, and I saw Abdul hitting pads, and he was hitting pads better than Khaos in the back room. I was like, and he looked bigger.
Yeah, I know. He just looked better. He just looked better in a lot of ways. How did fucking Dana White look though after that? Dana White was super impressed. He was fucking. He was like the next superstars here.
That's it. Another star just on the scene that we all have to watch out for now.
It's a good name as well, man.
Yeah, Khaos.
You have one guy whose name you can't pronounce for American viewers, which shouldn't make that much of a difference. But, you know, obviously it shouldn't. But I'm just saying that, like, fucking Khaos Williams is super marketable. Super marketable.
Yeah, well, look at Khaos Covington.
Khaos Covington.
Khaos Williams versus Khaos Covington.
Fuck. I couldn't even imagine. Cole better shoot for that takedown quick, bro. Fucking hell.
It was a welterweight fight, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Because Colby will never go down in our lifetime, guaranteed.
No.
Whether he goes up.
But those boys looked fucking huge, man. They looked ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. When I saw him in the back room, I was like, "Wait, is this welterweight?" And I think you questioned it as well. And I was like, "They look like middleweight or even light heavyweight." He was huge.
He's fucking huge, man. Anyway, we'll leave on to that. We'll go on to the main event. So obviously we had our boy Pauly Redstache,
the Irish Dragon,
absolute hero, taking on Rafael dos Anjos, and that actual fight itself was one of those ones that obviously materialized on like even 5 to 4 days notice or something like that, and it was very hard to pick who would be favored in that fight because it's that age-old thing, you know, that meme that's going around with like motivated McGregor or motivated Miocic or motivated anything, motivated Dos Anjos. It was whether motivated Dos Anjos was going to show up or he wasn't, and he did. And Pauly Redstache got a was in for a long
A
run.
horrible hiding.
Imagine signing up
Look,
for that man. It's nuts.
Yeah. Look, hats off to Rafael. He's a fucking stud. When he shows up, he fucking shows up. You know, he was the former champion, and he is for a reason. You know, and he's still that caliber. He's still fighting at that caliber. Felder's no pushover. Felder's just a warrior. He's just a fucking beast. I have nothing but respect for what that guy does in the sport, outside the sport, everything in his life. He just stands for such good morals, and he's just a good cunt. I wish he had got the W, but you know, fucking Rafael's a stud.
Well,
but nevertheless, we knew it was going to be a good fight, and it was a good fight. You know.
Yeah, well, Rafael literally went from fighting. It was pretty good for him because he went from fighting a hard rank number 12 to like a hard rank number fucking 6, 5 in Felder. Yeah, so it's like Rafael got a lot. He got a pretty much a gift given to him in that fight when you think about it. Because at the end of the day, I don't even think he goes back and fights. Can they make Makhachev versus Dos Anjos again? Like, there's no way. I don't think there's any reason why. There's no reason for Dos Anjos to actually go back and fight him anymore.
I never thought of that because that was the original fight. Yeah, I just completely forgot about everything when that new fight was rescheduled. Everyone just became so excited for that fight, but the original fight, and they might not fight now.
No, I don't think they will at all.
That's crazy to think about.
I think Makhachev's going to have to fucking find someone else. They're going to have to make someone else up for Makhachev, and it just depends.
Well, he originally, I believe he originally had a fight with Kevin Lee, or Kevin Lee was calling him out.
Yeah, Kevin Lee tried to dodge that fight, I think, from what I understand.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And it didn't even end up really materializing properly. Like, it's just, I think it was one of those ones where both of them were a bit about the fight. It was rough.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, right. Like, there's people like that, and then there's people like Paul Felder who are just. He secured his legend status.
Yeah, he did.
This fight,
100%.
And he didn't lose any stock at all. And in one judge's mind, he won the fight, and that.
I know.
Check himself into a cycle. The fucking.
I'm not discrediting Felder's performance either. Like, Felder had an unreal performance, and he won rounds. I reckon he won, the third round. Oh, maybe 4-1. I think I scored it, but a split decision. Yeah, no, 100%. That was just fucking whack. Did you see Felder's face when Bruce Buffer called it? He's like, the first judge scores it. I think it was 30-20. No, it was 29-28. Felder.
48-47, like,
yeah, 48. Yeah. And Felder's like.
Felder's like, I've actually fucking won this thing. But
you have to go back and rewatch his face. He knew he was gonna lose, but he just had that like that judge is on crack. Like, he knew he lost.
He would have been so nice about it if he lost. If he actually won that fight,
he probably would have been the kind of. Yeah, he probably would have been the kind of guy like Anthony Pettis versus Cowboy. He's like, Cowboy won that fight.
Yeah. He would have done exactly that. But this dude is fucking incredible. You know this guy, right? So now that he took the fight, he usually does the Tuesday slots for Contender Series, so he actually commentates the Contender Series. But then Dana's like, yeah, no worries, we'll reschedule some talent for it. But then Paul Felder's like, nah, I'm already here, I'll do it. So Paul Felder's commentating Tuesday.
Wow. Have you seen his face?
Yeah, I know, it's gonna be fucking freaky.
He posted a video only today, and I think he was talking about doing the commentary, and he's putting a close up of his face, and his eyes all busted up, he's all fucked up, like he's got a swollen lip, and he's like, nothing a bit of makeup can't fix. Now I understand why you were saying that.
It's just like, that's the thing, is like, as soon as people see him with a bit of a fucked up face, they're gonna be like, what a beast, man. You know what I mean?
To any new viewers who are just tuning in and getting into the sport, they're just gonna be looking at his face and just going, fuck, this is a rough gig.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking rough. It's just like they got the fighters commentating on 2 days'
Yeah.
notice. But actually, another thing after that fight, as well, was that there was a bit of like talks materializing for Connor and Dos Anjos, after the
I know.
Nathan Poirier fight. Do you reckon that'll ever happen? I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
I mean,
I don't think Connor's interested, to be honest. But I think personally, it's a great fight. I remember hearing Bisping going, that's one of the best fights that you could make. And like I said before, Rafael was a fucking stud. It's not going to be an easy night out for Connor.
no,
I
not
don't
at all.
think. But I just don't. I don't know. Connor's funny. I just don't think. Connor's, he's 1 minute he's UFC, 1 minute he's chasing Manny Pacquiao. Then he's back in there. I don't know. I
I
don't know.
think I think Dos Anjos has got this. Well, I think Dos Anjos is. There's a lot of content for Conor McGregor to use in the build up to Dos Anjos, and I think Conor McGregor feels like he mentally defeated him because Dos Anjos pulled out with that injury. Conor's just
Yeah.
going to think that in his mind, and who knows if that's true or not. Conor's pretty. He's definitely got a
And
different perspective than a lot of people.
there's
You know.
something that's quite entertaining and almost comical, like with Connor and Brazilians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
It's
you
because
just know it's gonna be a bunch of fun. But
Chael set the
if
bar high.
yeah,
Chael set the bar
if
high.
we
Now
can,
everyone fucking knows that Brazilians take this shit super seriously, so they just
I
fucking
think
tear.
yeah, I
Just
think
tear.
if we lived in a world where we could get past COVID and we can have proper press conferences and proper crowds and a build up, that fight totally makes sense. I think the business standpoint, the UFC would eat that up because there's so much to promote on,
Yeah.
and Connor's gonna make it fun. Connor's gonna
100%. It'd be fucking hilarious.
Connor's gonna pull him apart.
He's just gonna pick up where he left off.
Yeah, call him
He was already fucking tearing him to shreds in the shit talk.
call him a flat-footed baby Brazilian wrestler.
But I
Just
was.
fucking
I always, in my mind, thought after Diaz, after what happened with Diaz, because Diaz stepped in for that fight. I always thought, Dos Anjos might have had a pretty good job with that Connor that day, but you just can't pick it really. You can't pick it, and
yeah.
it just depends. Like we'll have to see that fight to see what actually would happen. And I think Dos Anjos maybe he's back into his prime, maybe he's past his prime. Who really knows? I can't really say anything. You know what I mean? I have to see more. I have to see
That's
more
it.
fucking performances, more steamrolls.
I
Definitely.
think if that fight with Markachev does come back into circulation, that does happen, and he beats Markachev, well then certainly I think Conor would be maybe interested.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I don't know. I
Makachev
just
getting up
think
to the top of lightweight as well would be interesting, just in terms of like him being Khabib's brother and everything, and that build up to what's going on with what
well
happened with Khabib and Conor. If they can't
that's
make
it.
Khabib Conor 2, which who the fuck knows what's happening at this point,
That's
then
what it's the
Makachev
next
is
best.
pretty good.
It's almost like redemption for Conor or revenge for Conor.
Yeah, he can
You
sleep.
know,
If Connor sleeps him and he's like, "I slept your boy and you didn't even come back and defend his honor." But fucking Ali posted the other day. Ali Abdulaziz posted 30-0 on Twitter.
really.
So they've definitely got a plan.
I
He's
heard this
definitely in
too.
talks. He's definitely in talks because he actually had a meeting with Dana White, and while he did promise his mother or whatever, there's definitely a chance that he's fucking coming back, and it seems like he is. He hasn't pulled himself out of the testing or anything like that. There's other things going on. He's still lightweight champion. He's still there, so there's still something they're working out. And if there's one thing about Dana White is Dana White's the best negotiator in the world. Dana White can
Yeah.
kick you
Oh
and
yeah.
take your number 3 ranking off while you've been complaining about it for years, and then put you back up, and then you're fighting fucking Shemaev. That's what Dana White
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
fucking
100%.
who
I did
knows?
see a video trending the other day. I think it was on the Ariel Hawani show, and it was something about Ariel saying that Khabib's not retiring or something. I never watched the video, but I know that there was speculation that it was, you know, he was going to come back for one more. I just think if that one more does happen, it's probably looking at GSP.
Yeah, but then again, GSP's so wishy-washy, man. Who the fuck knows at this point? Who the fuck
Yeah.
knows? And then I think
Yeah.
Michael Chandler said the other day, he was like he's like, yeah, just bring Khabib back so he can be 29 and Chandler. And I'm like, fuck, this guy is such a tool. He's actually, dude, like Michael Chandler, in my opinion, has just, I don't know, he's got some sort of, it's like he already feels entitled to this title shot already because he didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's very weird. Like he actually turned down filling the Tony fight in for 255. Apparently there were talks for that. He didn't do that, and then he obviously with the Dos Anjos thing, he just ignored that call out as well. But it seems like he's got some real big plans or whatever. He's holding off for something, but I don't know what. Maybe they're waiting to have a bit more time to see if fucking Chandler and Tony can happen, or I don't know. But Michael Chandler's another one which could potentially be Khabib's 30th opponent. I mean, I don't think Dana White ever wants to make Khabib versus Tony again, which, you know,
Sad.
Yeah, it's sad, but like I just don't think he trusts
Like we
it.
said, that's the fight that we all want to see.
I know.
That's the fight that you and me want to see. It's the fight that most people listening want to see.
I don't think
realistically, I personally would predict if I was to put a bet on it, I'd put it that it would be GSP over Chandler and Ferguson and Connor. I think that's what Khabib wants, and really, I think it could be one of the easier fights, really, because GSP has been out for so long. Who knows? But I think that's just what really would secure the legacy for Khabib.
You know what Khabib should do? He should bargain with Dana White to fight Makhachev for the title and then take a fucking dive. That's how you support your boys. Yeah, that's how you support your boys. See, that's the golden plan. You want to keep it in the family. You fucking go against Makhachev and then you take a dive and let him knock you out.
Yeah. And then let him reign superior.
Yeah.
Is what it
all
is.
In good grace. But from
a real obvious dive.
A real obvious one. From one goat to another. Fucking John Jones has been making headlines again. That he is making headlines again, talking about his GOAT status and everything else. It actually started this time. It started with fucking DC was actually doing an interview, and he said John Jones can't be the GOAT because the failed drug test should eliminate him from the conversation of being the greatest of all time, right?
DC said that, yeah.
DC said that, and there's a lot of weight to that. There's a lot of that makes sense. But then John Jones came back and hit DC with just some real fucking horrible shit.
Do tell. I haven't heard this.
So DC obviously said that, and there's obviously a legion of followers that agree with him, and then all the fuck John Jones crew. Like I was there, I was retweeting Daniel's tweet, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. He's a piece of shit. He fails drug tests. He's a gronk. Yeah.
I need to get Twitter.
No, but
I need to get on there and have a go.
Dude,
Twitter sounds like a lot of fun.
Twitter's like Facebook. If Facebook's
but they're all using it.
Facebook's like where old people fight. Twitter's like where fucking old people fight like kids.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. It's literally, it's fucking terrible. Anyway, John
they're
Jones
all using it though.
And he said, with the USADA testing program, you're guilty until proven innocent, unless you are the GOAT. See, when you're the GOAT and you've been winning for this damn long, you remain guilty because it helps people sleep at night. DC lost his last fight and then quit the sport. Laughing face emoji, laughing face emoji, laughing face emoji.
Wow.
What a fucking dick. But he's
Oh, he is. He is, but it's a pretty good call.
It's a good call, yeah, because it actually puts doubt in a lot of people's minds. Because obviously this guy's undefeated. Well, he is undefeated. Yeah, fucking DQ'd Matt Hamill or whatever the fuck. But he's undefeated. And when he says something like that, it's like, fuck, you're kind of right. We kind of want a reason to not call him the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
A lot of people that don't like him just want a reason to call him the greatest of all time.
Let's be honest. John Jones is not the smartest guy. The way, he does a lot of stupid things and stuff like that. But sometimes he unintentionally does things that are really smart,
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's a dick. But it gets me interested.
I like him in the octagon. I just think he's gone past the point of like promotional free cards when he attacks like Khabib straight after the fight, or like he'll go on rants and tirades. Like it's like, man, how much do I have to stick up for you? That's what this came from, man. I used to stick up and defend him a lot. And then
that's what happened, right? Khabib won. Khabib retired right there in the octagon. Somewhere between that time, Khabib retiring, and the post-fight press conference, which is half an hour, John Jones put up on his Instagram. And this was after, Khabib's just, fucking the loss of my father and blah, blah. Quite a sad time and quite a heroic retirement and all that sort of stuff. In between that, John Jones has put up on his Instagram. It must have been within that half an hour frame and gone, that whole Instagram story. If you go back and watch it, but it's him going, your guy's 3 and my 14. And he's like, come on, guys. I love you guys, but come on. He's like, who's the best of all time? He's put up that video, which I liked the video. I thought it was pretty cool. But the timing was completely fucking sour. And then somehow between that and the post-fight press conference, the media got a hold of it. And they're asking Dana White about it. Dana White must have heard something about it, because Dana White's like, oh, I've been telling you guys, he's the greatest of all time. I think it's just based on that, on his resume. But Dana White agreed.
Well,
I still think right now standing, he's the GOAT.
Just per se, you're a promoter, right? And I don't know how long. And what I noticed about Dana White is if he hasn't prepared something to say about it or an angle to go with it, he doesn't say it. He tries to avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think
he's always good at handling it. He's like, next question.
If he knows 29-0 and he knows that Khabib wants to do the 30-0, then by him saying, I've been telling you this for a long time, John Jones is the greatest of all time,
that's promotion.
He's sort of egging Khabib to
100%,
have another
that's what I was
fight
gonna say.
and get the greatest of all time. But then he's also, if Khabib is done, he's also promoting his next golden pony. You know what I mean? So it's like he's doing the right thing in both regards. So obviously he's had at least a brief discussion about it.
Never thought of it that way, but that's very clever, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way that's the way a good promoter will work, I guess. You know, I mean, despite the fact from his constant lies and everything else, I mean, like he's not that bad of a liar, but he just obviously he'll say things that'll just hype fights, but they might not necessarily be true, or they might not be said in the best way possible.
Yeah. Did you hear what Leon came out the other day and said about Chimaev?
What did he say? Was he talking about the fast knockout as well? Because Leon has a 7-second knockout on his record, bro.
Yeah. So he's talking about Chimaev and Chimaev coming up and how no one wants to fight him and blah, blah. And he was kind of ducking him for a while, didn't want the fight. But now that he's got the fight, he's sort of come out and said, well, I'm going to beat this guy. I'm going to show he's all wrong. And I forget what he said exactly, but he had a very valid point. He goes, yeah, the guys had 3 spectacular finishes in the space of 3 months. He's looking sharp, blah, blah. But he's like, look at my record. I finished more guys. I finished top guys. I've done the exact same thing. What makes this guy different? And I guess in the way UFC, it's happened before with stars that they push them too quick. Like look what happened to Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker was having these spectacular finishes. He got pushed too quick, put him up against Corey Anderson, and it all, if he had beat Corey Anderson, he was 99% probably going to get the next title shot against John Jones. He was going to get pushed right into that. but, you know, it was an upset. And the same thing could happen with Chimaev. And so he's smarter, he's cleverly putting doubt in people's minds now, which could even be getting into sort of Chimaev's head a bit, but he's going, you know,
well, he's got to mentally defeat Chimaev in some ways.
Yeah.
And he needs
and
to
that's
also...
he's convincing himself of all this, but he's not wrong.
Well, let alone whether he's outwardly speaking about it. I feel like every fighter has to you know, like I've heard people...
He wasn't putting Chimaev down or trash talking or anything like that. He was just saying it how it is.
Every fighter as well has to find a way, whether they're speaking outwardly in promotion about it, to mentally think, I can beat this guy. And they need to mentally convince themselves in some way. And if he wants to do that, then he's actually got a lot of content to do that. Like it actually makes sense, like what he's saying. And
yeah,
I think the funny thing is Ariel Helwani actually made a comparison about this on his show. And Ariel Helwani said, wouldn't it be like the biggest fuck you with this whole year's pretty much been like a jinx. This whole year has been like, fuck, like, you know, people pulling out, people here, people everywhere, you know, like Dana having to move the thing to fucking Abu Dhabi, like for like 4 or 5 times in the year, stuff like that.
Chimaev shows up where the virus shows up.
Exactly.
Leon beats Chimaev and the virus goes.
The thing, that's what I'm saying. And the funny thing about that is that Leon, if one person has come out, if one positive's happened for the UFC in 2020, it's that Chimaev has arrived on the scene, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to have a jinx, like a one last fuck you from 2020 to everyone in the world, the last fight on the UFC calendar is Leon Edwards versus Chimaev. If UFC ends with Leon Edwards getting his hand raised, like, yeah, it's fucked everything. It's fucked everything. Yeah. It's a big reset. It's a big reset. Because then you're going to have to build back Chimaev up and everything else. And
then we go into 2021 and go back to basics. All right, let's start bringing Connor up. Let's fucking put Connor against Poirier again and fucking go back to 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking nuts. It's crazy. And it's just like, I don't know. That'd just be hilarious. But I think that's literally scheduled for the last card of the year. So last card of the year, last fight is what they're planning on. So
that's so funny that actually could happen. And then it's like, bang, we just fucking wasted a whole year of build up and everything.
You got rinsed. Now I've got no lightweight champion. You never got to see Kimmy versus Tony. You know, all this shit happened. You know what I mean? Conor only fought once. You know, like it's just
Yeah.
And if Leon Edwards gets the rub, like Leon Edwards hasn't competed in fucking 2 years? Has it been 2 years since Leon competed? Yeah, literally something like that.
I think so, yeah.
But
Rafael was his last fight, wasn't it?
Let me check that.
No. I can't even remember what his last fight was. I don't think it was Dos Anjos. No, it was.
Wasn't it the fucking?
Someone else. It was whatever fight he got the 3-piece.
Yeah. It was the London card. That was Oh no. Okay, he fought July 20 last year. No, that was Gunnar Nelson. So he fought one more time after that.
I was about to say Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah,
Gunnar Nelson. It was Dos Anjos was his last fight.
Dos Anjos was his last fight, and that was July last year. So it's been over a year since he's fought, and he's been out of the rankings completely. So for him to just come in and dominate Chimaev would just be a big fuck you to the whole thing. But we do have,
and it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen easily. We just don't know what's going on. We don't know what. But yeah, apart from that, we have another card getting closer to the end of the year, but not the last card of the year. It's the UFC this weekend, UFC 255. We're doing a breakdown. We've got to get into it. It's interesting in terms of the news that's come out of this card, but it's actually kind of a bummer of a card to watch because for a pay-per-view, it doesn't feel that strong.
Yeah. I like the card this weekend. Are we doing our little segment with our fucking case bets and Peter's multis.
Yeah, we'll do. Look, I want to get before we announce any of the fights going on or our predictions, official predictions, everything. Bet of the week. Give me your bet of the week. What's going on? Give me one multi, something. All right, fanboys, we're introducing a brand new segment here. We're even going to do a super cup for this one. This is Pete's bet of the week. Maybe a multi. Maybe
I need a stack of 50s in my hand.
yeah, I'll try and get that arranged, all right? I'll speak to my editor. Hey, bro, can you do this? Oh, yeah, man, no worries.
All right, sweet. Let's do it.
All right,
Cut.
What is your bet of the week here?
So my multi, we good?
We
I
good.
thought it cut out for a second.
No,
all right, so I've got, and I can't go out of this just to double check it, but I've got Paul Craig on points. I got a four-legger for everyone. Paul Craig on points, Mike Perry on points, Figueiredo KO round 1, Shevchenko KO round 2. It was paying, last I checked, $285. Power play it to $330, $10, $3,000.
I tell you what, that's not bad. That's not bad at all, based on like the predictions.
The only one I'm worried about, I think, is Mike Perry could either get a KO or he could lose.
I don't think he'll lose.
I like Tim Means is pretty good. I don't think he's on Mike Perry's level, but Mike Perry's sort of slowed down with the heavy hands. He's kind of, his last few fights, he's going the distance. So I see it being points.
He took Gal to the distance. You know what I mean? So if he took Gal to the distance, he's probably taking Tim Means the distance.
Yeah, and he's paying $5 on points.
Yeah. Well, look,
good
here
bet.
We go. Let's fucking. I definitely see that happening, and I definitely, I actually I lean towards a KO, but I think it's definitely possible that he'll actually get it on. He'll get it on points just based on his last few performances. He seemed like he was, I don't know, like fighting to distance, and he wasn't having a problem. And those 3-rounders, they're a lot shorter than you expect. You know what I mean? A lot shorter.
Yeah,
100%.
So,
we'll see. That's a good one, brother. Thank you for your pick of the week. Now, here's my pick of the week. This is what I'm going to do. This is the safe bet. So, Davison Figueiredo in the main event is fucking paying. He's paying
$1.30 or something.
Not $1.30, but not enough for a sub. People forget that he's sub Benavidez. People forget that he's got amazing stuff, and if it ends up on the ground, it could definitely be a sub. So for submission round 1, which is probably one of the more likely ones, that's $10. That's the way. Oh,
is it?
To 10 extra money. Figueiredo submission round 2 is $21. Submission round 3, $34. So back every single method of victory market.
Here we go.
There's no way you can't do this. And if you're worried about that, then back submission on the head at $5.50, which is very good. Apart from that, the chance that it might go the distance and Figueiredo might have a quiet one. Are you packing the nobbies there, are you? What's going on? The nobbies.
I think poor Perry's going to get fucking knocked. I don't think he's going to get subbed, but...
No, we'll see what happens. But for that fight to go the distance with Figueiredo and Perez, I think that's paying like $5 or something. So like that's some money there per se. He doesn't end up, having as clear of a fight as you'd think, or it might be a bit of a slower turnout for him, and Alex Perez might be able to keep it distant. But we'll have to see what happens, man. Look, at the end of the day, I'll leave those for my bets. I'm just going to be confident with the submissions. It's not something that can potentially always happen, but for him, it's definitely possible. He got JoJo in the rear naked choke, so I don't know what these bookies are really doing. Generally, he likes to, with flyweights, it takes a little bit to get him out of there. So if you were to get to knock him, if you were to knock one down, it's going to take a bit, and for him to get him out with a choke, that makes sense for me, in my mind. But look, I'm not Las Vegas.
I would never put a KO. I would never put a KO really for Figueiredo based off his last fights and stuff. I agree, but seeing what he did to Benavidez 2 fights in a row in one round just sort of changed it for me. You know, like you don't really edge those bets with flyweights because it like you said, it does take a while to get him out of there. But Figueiredo's looking good, and he fucking destroyed the top contender twice in one round in Benavidez. And, Perez, I think Benavidez is the better fighter than Perez, Definitely. So I just see it going that sort of way.
Well, let's just fucking...
But it could be an all-round war and go to decision and, fuck me up on the last leg, which often happens.
Dude, we've gone out of this
I've come so close to winning. Yeah.
No, we've gone out of this betting segment and then we haven't segued enough. So now we're literally just breaking down the main event, which is fine. So we'll do the card from fucking front to back, like the unorganized pricks we are. So I think Figueiredo is going to get it done, and I think it is going to be submission. If I was to say anything, I think it would be in 1, but it could go a bit later. It could go to 2 or 3 or anything else. What's your final pick on that?
Yeah, look, I think it's a round 1 KO, but either way, I see him definitely winning that fight. I don't really see a way of him losing that fight. So, even if he's not paying enough to put money on the head, really, in my opinion. But if you're one of those boys with a lot of money and you want to just put a big amount of money with a small return, you're pretty safe just putting it on the head.
Yeah.
But for me, anyone that's paying $1.30, like, you really got to put, $500 to win something significant.
Yeah, and if you're broke like me, then you got to really fucking, go.
Yeah, none of us. I don't have $500. Yeah, I don't have $500 laying around. That's why we get a little bit fancy with our betting.
If you're a big punter, you're not listening to this show anyway, probably. That's you're dregs like us. You're fanboys. That's what you are.
Just go with my multi.
Yeah. So obviously that's going down. But before I even break anything else down, just try and sum it into words how disappointed you are that it's not Cody Garbrandt stepping in the octagon this weekend.
I know.
It's disgusting, man. It makes me so
upset. The card, it's a good card if you're a true fight fan, but the card lost so much stock once that fight sort of went that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even people like true
everyone
fight fans,
loves.
They want to see fucking Cody Garbrandt fight Davison Figueiredo. It's like the two bad boys of the fucking UFC fighting it out.
And either one of them can win that fight. If world champion Cody shows up, he knocks out Figueiredo with ease, with power. If brawler Cody rocks up, he's getting slaughtered.
But either way, it'd be fun to watch. You know what I mean?
Either way, that fight ain't going the distance.
Yeah. And I just think this whole card in itself has sort of been, the problem with a lot of these, with Figueiredo, he's sort of building himself as someone who's almost at the point of cleaning out the division, which is not really a strong division anyway to begin with, but he's still cleaning it out. And at the end of the day, the way I look at it is when you have a fight like that, which isn't close, and then you have a fight like Shevchenko and Maia, Shevchenko's cleaned out the division as well. How much reason do you have to buy? It's like, I don't really have any reason to watch the fights overall, to tune in for the fact of seeing who wins. You know what I mean? Sure, I get to see the outcome, right?
If either one of those fighters loses, Shevchenko or Figueiredo, I'll be very fucking surprised. You know what I mean?
Very fucking surprised.
And we'll have a fucking lot to talk about next week.
And not only that, the thing is like, yeah, we'll have our foot in our mouths next week if fucking Jennifer Maia ends up sleeping Shevchenko or some stupid shit like that. Fucking Alex Perez wins out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
You there?
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry, did that not work? Yeah, but if any champion actually loses their title in this one, it's going to be very, very confusing. So in this situation, I think I look at the way this is set up, where it's like you've got two almost guaranteed outcomes, like a very run of the mill card, with two people that aren't really typically known for selling big fights, and it's a pay-per-view as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
quite it's not really good news for the UFC, but not only that, come like weigh-in day, you've also got a bit of a serious, like a bit of an alarming issue too, because Figueiredo is like known for missing weight, and Jennifer
Mm-hmm.
Myers missed weight as well. So
Mm-hmm.
what's gonna happen when they fucking like if one of them misses weight? It just adds more uncertainty to the card and more just this fight card is not going to be what we look back on and go, this was great. You know what I mean?
I love watching Shevchenko fight. I
Me
love
too.
watching the Bullet
Me too.
fight. She is a huge favorite. Have you seen the odds? I just looked
Yeah.
before.
I
She's
haven't
a
seen it.
$1.04 favorite.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you wanted to win $40, you'd need to put $1,000 on her,
Yeah, it's brutal, man.
which is crazy. But not that there's any doubt in my head that she's losing that fight. She's winning that fight. But there's something about her. I can get behind the Bullet in every one of her fights just because she is that good. And
Yeah.
I just love, watching her setups. Something about girls, and you don't. I'm not discrediting the women's division, but women are a little bit weaker. They tend to go to decisions more, but the Bullet has so much power, and to watch girls harness that and fucking display it is just.
It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
just hot. It's just hot.
I know it's hot. She's always been my favorite fighter for a long time, and I even think in the Nunes fights, I've actually thought, there's definitely two
That's the
decisions.
fight that we all need to see, is them two fighting for a third time.
Yeah, and Dana's like, oh, Nunes has already been it twice. It's like, well, not really, man. It's the closest thing you've ever seen, and we still need to see it and prove it. And I don't
That's the
think,
problem, is Amanda's won both, but
yeah,
the last one was a sort of kind of like a controversial decision. But the fact that it's hard to have a trilogy when one party's won two fights, but realistically, in the female division, there's two dominant champions. They're the only ones that have separated them. So, like, there's a big gap between them and the rest. It's the only fight that you can really make that's going to sell, that's interesting, because there is such a huge gap between them and the rest.
unless something like Weili Zhang or Thug
Yeah,
Rose can make it up to that sort of bantamweight division and give them a good fight, there's nothing else apart from Nunes and
yeah.
Shevchenko. And to be honest, I'd much rather watch that than a slaughtering massacre of someone. Do you know what I mean?
The Jennifer Meyer, yeah.
Of a Jennifer Meyer. So to me, that's just the way I view it. But Mike Perry versus the Dirty Bird. This is one of those fucking fights that actually, it's probably the most exciting fight on the card. Probably
No, I was
hands
just
down
about.
again.
I was just about to say that before. I was going to say, Alex, what fight are you most excited about? Because I knew you'd have the same answer as mine,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is funny.
yeah.
It's just fucking Black Perry is exciting,
Mike Perry's
which
exciting as fuck.
kind of upsets me, because there's so much you could do with Mike Perry. There's so much you could do that's just exciting and bigger. Like, I know he's not a ranked contender, but he's at that status where you can pretty much put him against anyone in the UFC. You could put him against Darren Till. You could put him against Rafael. You could put him against all these big names.
100%.
It's Mike Perry. That they put him against Dirty Bird, which, I mean, is exciting.
Well, I think people are still questioning his skills after the comeback.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is.
And
I think they want to build him up slowly and have him winning because they know he's an asset.
yeah.
But we just have to see where it all goes with that. Like, because at the end of the day, Mike Perry can be good, but for how long does he keep getting hit? Because he's the guy who's already hit the fame, and he's already, in a way, had a downside to his career. So to me, it's like, is it all up for here, or is it just he fights all the time and just has wins and losses and everything else like a cowboy?
Comes to,
Um,
yeah.
but again, it just depends on where he views himself in his career as well, and how he is as a person. And I think a lot of the times when you look at Mike Perry, there's an uncertainty there of like, oh, is he going to win the next fight, or does he give enough of a fuck to win? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like it just seems
yeah.
like that, and that's another question about it. When you see those top level contenders and you see Mike Perry fight, it's like, I mean, at least you're tuning in for like a real decent fight there. It's like it's not an underdog story, but it's more compelling to me in my mind, just because of everything. Because if it gets close to Darren Till, that's all I want. That's all I want.
That's why.
I want to be
That's
close to
why
him.
I'm spending. That's why I'm spending my $50 on Sunday. I'm
Yeah,
spending my $50 to watch Mike Perry's walkout, to watch Mike Perry's post fight shenanigans speech about the fucking getting robbed by the tax man.
Oh
And
my god.
I'm paying $50 to watch Jennifer Maia get butchered.
Oh man.
But that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Is sort of, it's part of the job. We have to break it down, but it's just sort of one of those cards. Just
He is so funny, Mike Perry. He's so funny unintentionally as well. He's just
yeah, I
so
know.
good.
He's
I love him.
perfect. He's perfect.
He's
Especially like
so
the
funny.
tax speech and everything. Like it's perfect. You can just tell. Like
So,
he's just. I hope he's doing better. I hope he's doing better financially. Whatever he's doing. I mean, I'm sure he's.
he's like, man, they can't give you all this money and expect you not to spend it.
Everyone, no matter how like unthought out and how genuine it was, everyone feels that way a little bit.
It's
You know what I mean?
it's so real. It's so
Yeah,
real. Imagine if someone just fucking put 50 grand in your bank account tomorrow.
I know exactly,
Yeah. And that's
exactly.
what happens. I guess that's how fighters get paid. They get paid in these big lump sums. It's up to them to manage their own cash flow,
Yeah,
to pay their coaches and their bills accordingly.
well,
Mike
they're
Perry's just got this funny child mindset to the whole thing, but it's so realistic.
realistically they're not fighters as an industry. You would probably assume them to be like one of the least, you know, people who are like the least financially minded people. You know what I mean? They're more focused on actually, KOing someone. So for that,
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones that are in desperate need of accountants. You know what I mean? Like these people
Yeah, 100%.
fucking need that shit because they're not only employees, they're contractors. They're not employees, they're contractors. So at the end of the day, like, these guys actually have to put a lot more work into fucking managing their own finances. I reckon the
I know the
UFC should
UFC,
provide them with accountants.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. I know the UFC does a lot of the right things, especially with doctors and healthcare and all that sort of stuff. I know that they do, like I heard off Chael, that they do like a yearly conference where all, however many fighters are on the roster are invited to the year conference, and they go through, crazy rule breakdowns and, what's illegal, what's right, what's wrong. But I don't think they're offered any sort of, you know, financial kind of lesson or accounting or
Yeah.
any sort of tips to manage themselves to make it a career in that regard. I think they're kind of just paid. Then they get these bonuses that they didn't think that they were going to earn, and
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
with lump sums of that, we all know what it's like when you earn a huge paycheck. The whole thing gets taxed.
I know. It's like with these things as well, and everything in mind. Like the UFC does enough for their own accountability, but there's a few questionable things, like in my mind, in terms of like fighter pay, especially where I look at it and I go, that's some of it's just not right. Like it just, in my mind, I'm just like, man, this could a lot better could be happening out of this sort of program, and I think that's why people have been fighting for like the unionization for fighters for a long time. But I mean, it
Yeah.
just depends on how that works and then again, who's in charge of the union, and then what happens there? Because I guess exactly what happened here. Like if you're, you know, our viewer base is Australian anyway, and they know sort of how the unions sort of work in the political scheme, and they've sort of haven't worked out any better than not having a union here, at least.
Yeah.
Sort of fucking discredited the whole Labor Party, and you have all the working class fucking voting Liberal now. So like, you know what I mean? Like, it just depends.
100%.
And the people that are calling for a fighters union are fucking fighters. I don't think they're very good at managing things done. There should be someone like, you know, Ali or Ali Abdulaziz or someone else who's calling for a fight union. Someone in management who knows what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Talking about, someone who can take control. Yeah.
Leave the KOs to the
Right.
fighters. You know what I mean? Leave the flashy knockouts. Leave all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a long form conversation. It'd be good to have a podcast. It'd be good to have a podcast one day just talking about this stuff, because there's a lot of points that
I reckon we definitely should. I would need to do a little bit. I don't know a terrible lot about it, but I just assume that they're not offered that support. You know.
Yeah.
And they sort of have to learn either themselves or the hard way. You know. I mean, the top fighters, they get paid a lot. Like I'll tell you right now, like Mike Perry's going to get 3 times the paycheck that Dirty Bird will.
Yeah, of course. But
you know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think that there's I think everyone should get a little bit of a pay-per-view point if they're on the main card at least, you know?
100%.
Like players in the NFL or like any major sports league in America, some of them get cuts of the popcorn fucking sold at the stands.
So, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a different ball game when you look at the UFC. So
and look, like we're just saying, you know, half the reason why we're tuning in and paying the money is because of that specific person.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and which is fucking Mike Perry in terms of this card.
Yeah.
In this card, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's people like Kung Lee, you know, Kung Lee, ex-fighter. He had a few big fights. He's a bit of UFC talent, and he's taking UFC to court for taking advantage of a monopoly in the industry.
Yeah, right.
And there's a lot more coming out like this that are doing that, and it's a very interesting topic. I mean, before we'll leave that for another podcast, but there's fucking definitely a lot of things you can say in terms of that. Getting it on
it's
board.
Interesting.
But
Look forward to that one.
What else do we have to really talk about? We've got that. I mean, we've got Joaquin Buckley's fighting. Buckley. That'll be interesting. I mean,
on this card, yeah.
I don't think we'll see another flashy KO or anything, but you never know.
Yeah.
I want to see how much that pulled him up in the odds. To be honest, what is it? Fucking $1.35 to 3.12.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, that fucking knockout paid dividends for him at least, I guess.
Is he kicking off the main?
No, he's main in prelims, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, he's second on the prelims. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, so he's Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval, which is a fucking good fight.
That kicks off the main card.
Yeah, no, that's the prelim main event. So,
oh right.
Paul Craig and Shogun are kicking off the main card.
Oh, kicking off. Okay. Yeah.
But bro, fuck's sake, like, if I look at it this way, like,
Royval's coming off that fucking crazy submission on Kai Kara France.
Murdered Kai Kara France. Dude, I was listening to, I think it was a podcast today, and I think it was DC and Helwani's podcast, and they were talking about it, and they were like, and DC's like, yeah, he came off that crazy submission of that British fellow. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, fuck you.
British fellow.
He's British fellow.
Jesus Christ.
And then Hawani fucking corrected him, and he's like, no, he's an Australian fellow. And I'm like, He's a fucking New Zealander, isn't he?
Yeah, he's New
He's a fucking
Zealand.
New
Yeah,
Zealander. What is going on?
and you could hear when he talks, like just his New Zealand accent. I mean, to us Aussies, you pick that straight away. But I guess to them, you know, it's all the same shit. You know, you hear Chael talk about Izzy, and he's like, you know, home ground. Like Chael at least has a lot more knowledge, but he's like, you know, he's a you know, African New Zealander, you know.
Yeah. Well,
But he's like, you know, he fought Whitaker at his, you know, in his home soil, which it is home soil.
Yeah.
But they are two different countries. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like fucking like the other day. Like I think Michael Bisping was trying to do like an Adesanya accent, and he's like, I don't know how to do a Kiwi accent, and I'm trying to tell him that it's not really a Kiwi accent. Like whatever style band has got going on, it's like a African Kiwi accent. It's like a whole different thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And see, we can notice that. I just don't think they do, you know?
Yeah, I know. No one. Yeah, and it's interesting the way people view the other side of the world because our side of the world's confusing, man. Like people are looking at this fucking like, how the fuck do you pick a New Zealander accent? You know what I mean? People don't even know where the fuck that came from.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Fucking hell.
All
Anyway,
I know is we're producing some good stars.
We are producing some great stars, and there's people like Jimmy Crute. I think Jimmy Crute, he got number 1 on this. It was a famous MMA magazine's list of under 20.
Youngest, under 25. I saw that.
Under 25, number 1, which is good.
Yeah.
Good. I think it got written around the time that he fucking knocked it out, so it was perfect as well because he fucking.
I remember reading that and thinking of a lot of fighters that weren't on there.
Yeah, I know.
Like O'Malley.
Was O'Malley on there? No, O'Malley was on
there. But I have a feeling. Hello?
Yeah. You there?
Yeah, it's going blotchy.
No, you're right, bro.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Oh, I was just saying. I remember reading that and thinking of a lot of fighters that I thought were under 25 that weren't on there, but like, you know, Sugar Sean and, you know, a few others, but I think Sugar Sean might be over 25 now.
I think the way they look at it as well is that, like, in terms of just like the way, just the like wins and losses and everything, like Jimmy Crute, I guess, proved himself a bit more in the UFC. They reckon.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
But,
you got a lot of young kids. Like you had that, you know, that 19-year-old Chase Hooper.
Yeah.
But he's still so new to the UFC, and they put him against Caceres, and you know that was probably a little bit of a too much of a rush forward. I can see why he wouldn't be in that list. You know, Jimmy Crute has been doing it for a while, and he's definitely not going anywhere anytime soon. He's not going to be an in and out star. He's going to stay there for a while and give guys problems, and he's still so young.
Yeah, he's proved himself, man. All right, well, let's wrap it on this fucking Fightday Fanboy. A bit of a interesting one, but, you know, it's sort of got a bit monotone because I don't know, this card is, it's not going to be hard to watch, but it's just...
It's a good card. We're all going to make $3,000.
We're all going to make $3,000, so I'm going to list that bet there in the description. If you want to follow it, you can follow it, and if you want to send this man a generous tip afterwards, maybe me as well if you want. There's some cuts
put my account details on there.
I'll put your account details on there as well. All right, it's been
on Sunday.
On Sunday? All done on Sunday. I'll fucking pick up the Instagram post and everything else. It's been Fightday Fanboy. Thank you for tuning into a very late one. We always enjoy your company. Lovely talking to you, Peter Walsh, the Brisbane Bad Guy. There he is. Thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, tell your mother, tell your friends, tell your cousins, tell your second cousins, tell your blood relatives, tell the people down at the blood bank where you donate blood. Tell the people where you get the COVID test from, nurses, registered nurses, tell your GPs, tell everyone. All right, I love you guys. Thank you. Goodbye.